Hey, I'm John Siskovich. I'm here with my John Deere 4700 with a 460 loader. I'm going to share some specs about the tractor, why it's good for my specific farming operation, and then at the end, 3 tips to make your tractor use experience just way better on farm and make your machine last a lot longer. So first, some backstory on the tractor, then we'll get into some of the specifications, and then my tips at the end for helping you having a pleasant tractor experience. So backstory, professionally, I'm a hired farm manager working on a farm under the landowner. So the landowner, when he bought the property, the 52 acres that we have here was agricultural. They'd gone fallow for about 5 years. And there was a bunch of farm equipment that was built into the sale of the land when he bought it. So this tractor belonged to the pre-existing owner and transferred hands when David bought the property. So with the property came this tractor, like I said. So this is a John Deere 4700. It's about a 2000 year-wise, and brand new, we're looking at about 24 grand. That might be a little different now, but it's a compact utility tractor, about 40 to 42 gross horsepower. It's a pretty strong little workhorse we got here on farm. When you're buying a tractor, important things to note is that the tractor and the front end loader are 2 separate pieces. You can get 2 different specifications on both of those things, and then the front end loader comes off, so you can just have the tractor or just a front end loader. There's different, it's customizable. So what we have is the John Deere 4700 with a 460 loader. What that gives us working around farm is a fair amount of horsepower without getting really big on our tractor. Our land is very wet, so having a light tractor, a lighter tractor, helps us out because we float a little bit more evenly. When the ground gets a little bit wet and they get stuck, not as much, but it still has enough power to unload pallets of feed. So that 40 horsepower with that 460 loader at the points on the loader, so right here somewhere where it connects to the tractor, that's rated for about 2,300 pounds of lift, so about 2,000 pounds or 1 ton. So when I'm lifting up grain, my grain comes in 1 ton pallets. I have forks on here, and I'll do separate videos on all the different attachments for the tractor. But with the forks and the front end loader, I can pick a pallet up off the back of a truck, drive it where I need to on farm, put it down, and I'm good to go. If I had a smaller tractor, things to keep in mind, especially if you're a livestock farm, even if you're a vegetable farm and you're getting 1 ton of compost in those big white tote bags, is that you want a tractor strong enough that you're going to be able to lift that stuff up, or have a neighbor with ready access to a tractor that can lift that up. If this tractor was any smaller than it is, we'd have some serious problems because we wouldn't be able to manage feed on farm. In the coming videos, I will show you all the different implements, some of which I have purchased and some of which that came with the farm that we have for the tractor, and how I use all those. And now let me get into those 3 tips for making your tractor using experience more helpful. First tip, respect your engine. That's right, this is a diesel tractor, and whether it's a diesel or a gas engine, no matter what vehicle you have on farm, even if it's your weed whacker, they like to be warmed up. It thins the oil out, makes everything run a little bit smoother and more efficiently, and before you put a lot of pressure or stress on that engine by starting it up and going to do something, you want to let it sit for a couple minutes, and that couple minutes depends on the time of year. Right now it's cool, so I let it warm up a little bit longer. When it's 90 degrees in the summer, a little less long because the engine's already starting to get warm because the sun's beating on it. But letting that engine warm up will extend the life of your equipment much longer than if you turn it on and just get going right away. So let your engine warm up, it thins out the oil, everything gets coated, it runs smoother. It's like in the morning. If you got out of bed and went to run a sprint, you wouldn't do so well. You let your body warm up, get going, and you're good to go for the day. The second point also has to do with respect. Take care of your equipment. If you take care of your equipment, it will take care of you. If you treat it like garbage, it will turn to garbage. Grease the points. So at least once a week on a regular use. If you've been using it more heavily, grease it once a day. But these things right here have a little point, and I'll do a video in the future on how to grease your points and use a grease gun and all that stuff. But filling these with fresh, clean grease is super, super important to extend the life of your machine. Dirt gets in there, and then if you think about what sandpaper is made out of, it's just made out of it's sand plus paper. sand gets in there, it starts to wear away the point. Those can break, it can cause equipment failure, it's not safe. You don't want these to dry up. You should always have them clean, lubricated, ready to go, and your machine will be much, much happier. The final tip, and this is a rule on our farm, that when you park the tractor, all hydraulics are on the floor. See the bush hog in the back, on the ground, there's no pressure on the system. The forks in the front, on the ground, no pressure in the system. This does a couple things for you. One, it takes the stress and strain off your hydraulic lines, which makes everything last a little bit longer. If you thought about like sitting there with your muscles tensed, you would wear out after a while. If you're sitting on the couch, relaxed, you'll last a lot longer. You'll be a little bit more at rest. Again, some of these things, not gonna destroy it day one, but long term, it pays to take care of your machine. So what you do, you park the tractor, put everything in neutral, put all your hydraulics on the ground. That helps ensure that it won't roll away. You can also use the parking brake. And then hang up your headphones on the steering wheel, flip the seat up so that you don't get a wet butt in the morning when there's dew or rain on your seat if you store your tractor outside, and the whole thing makes for a much happier tractor experience. If you guys have any questions about this tractor or the other things that I have on farm, leave them in the comment section below. This is beginning me taking some videos of the equipment that I use on farm. I may not have all the answers, but I have a lot of opinions. And what works for me and my farm doesn't necessarily work for you. You don't need a tractor to farm depending on your model. I have livestock, I move a lot of grain, I move stuff for the brewery. This machine is very, very handy. Once again, any questions, leave them in the comment section below. If you're interested in seeing and hearing more about my farm, subscribe to the channel, and until next time, I will see you out in the field.